Quiet on set, dumbass. Go, Dad. Make me proud.
What's up, fam? It's your boy Demuir here, purveyor of all sounds underground. I guess by the looks of it, you know we will be doing a little something extra special on my YouTube channel today. But before we jump into things, what I need from you is that SLC. Hit subscribe, like, and comment. And more importantly, hit the notifications bell to stay in touch with the new videos that we have up and coming. Okay, so obviously the thing that's different on our YouTube channel today is the unboxing of the Pioneer DJM-V10. I wasn't expecting this thing to arrive for at least another 4 or 5 days later, but I got a pleasant surprise today when there was a knock on my door while I was speaking to my manager, and lo and behold, because of COVID, there was a little bit of a harsh pass off. I opened the door and the box was just sitting there, and he said, "Have a nice day," from a distance. So anyways, let's just jump into things. First off, I will say, when this bad boy arrived, I was like, damn, this is heavy. And it is. I'd say the box altogether, with everything in there, is about 50 pounds in total. The mixer itself, I understand, is about 27 pounds on its own. Yeah. Let's open it up. Whew! It's exciting stuff. Ever since Pioneer announced this thing, I can tell you the jealousy was real. I saw some of my peers posting up that they got this fucking thing from Pioneer. And first off, I should say that off the bat is much thanks and shouts out to Pioneer DJ for making this happen and sending this to me, along with my coming X10 headphones. Looking forward to it. So let's have a look at that. That is a work of art. I have the DJM-900 NX S2. Is it S2 or NX2? Anyway, I have that, and this design, nowhere near this, man. So you know Pioneer's making a statement with this piece of kit right off the bat. Alright, so we got this bad boy out of the box. You probably saw that it took like at least 3 mans to get this out. Serious thing, so still. But it's nice. It's still quite weighty, obviously. There's only the second layer of the unboxing. Let's get into this here. Alright, we got another layer beyond the music. So as I said, Pioneer making a very strong statement with this one. You know, I remember being in at a gig with Cossie and Dennis Ferrer at ADE, and I think recently they announced the Model 1 mixer, and everybody was salivating over this thing. And I remember thinking to myself, yeah, it's nice, but man, it looks so complicated. You know what I mean? Everybody wanted to get their hands on it, and anyway, we didn't even end up using the thing, but I knew right then and there that Pioneer was going to come with an answer to that, and I know this is it. So we're now into the third layer of the box, styrofoam, protective foam here. So first off, we got the power cable here. It actually has a locking pin to it. Looks great. Locking piece is on the blue part here. You know, let me just take it out. Really beautiful. I thought I'd be saying this shit about a mixer. But here we go.
There you go.
Alright. Styrofoam off. Wow, it's still really, really heavy. Like, it's a noticeable difference from the 900 NX2. Get this out of the way. Another protective layer. Wow. This is incredible. Beautiful. Okay, so here we have it. Beautiful aesthetics right off the bat. I love the design on this thing. I can tell you, everything feels pretty much contoured towards its specific purpose. Like, you know, if you've used the 900 DJM NX2, you got the knobs here for the mic, and then you have what is a bit different here is the effects section here, and I'll get more in depth in a separate video, but right now I'm just going over the aesthetics of the mixer. And over here we have, you know, different parts that affect the effects send. So you actually have two options with the effects unit here. You got like a send 1 and a send 2 for the external devices. So if you want to hook up a RMX 1000, things of that nature, you can with this thing. And then over here you have your typical cueing for the headphones, and I'll get back into more in depth, as I said, in another video. But now that we're on the headphone side, I'm just going to jump over to the other side here, and you'll notice there is a cue or headphone section for what is known as headphone B. And basically what it allows you to do in a back-to-back situation, previously with the Pioneer mixers, you'd share the one headphone jack. One guy would go in with a 1/8 tip and the other guy would go in with the 1/4 inch. And now with this mixer, you have a very specific dedicated headphone B piece. So you and whomever you're going back to back with has a dedicated space for their headphone to cue levels with whatever records they're bringing in and listening to the master and whatnot, rather than sharing the same cueing section. All right, so let's just step through this in a little bit more of a linear flow. So right off at the top, you can see it's a 6-channel mixer. You have 3 inputs specifically for turntable or phono, and those are on 1, 3, and 6. And then in between you have your normal inputs for, you know, line-ins and digital inputs for, you know, CDJs, normal decks that you would include, or the option to go digital, of course. Then the next row down, it's another difference. You have trimmed the normal gain, which most of us are used to seeing. But the interesting thing about this, and I need to confirm what the signal path is you have a compressor piece attached to it. So with compression, it's perfect for those of you who want to test out new tracks in the club and you know they're not properly mastered yet, and you can actually boost the signal nicely to compete with the other tracks that you're mixing in your set. So I love that feature. It's really, really cool, because I can't tell you the number of times I've come in with a track I just wanted to test and not necessarily pay for proper mastering, and all I had as an option was to basically boost the gain most of the time, and it was ridiculous. Like, you had to go full tilt. So this is a nice addition. At the EQ level, there's a noticeable difference here. It's actually 4 bands now. So instead of just the 3 bands, you know, for the low, mid, and high that we're used to seeing on previous Pioneer mixers, we now have 4. So the addition here is the low mid. So I'm looking forward to messing around with this, because you get a full cutoff in terms of dB on the low side, and then it goes like minus 20 dBs on the low mid to +6, and similar for the high mid, and then full cutoff at the top in terms of the treble from 0 to 6 +6 dBs. So nice addition there. It's going to allow for more control in the harmonics and frequencies. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what effect this new EQ setup has in terms of the transitions and blends in mixing situations. The next layer down we have is the filter. And I believe that is selected, if memory serves me right here. So you have the option between a low pass and high pass filter with a resonance. So I'm looking forward to hearing it, but I've already heard this mixer at play and I'm very impressed. It has a warm feeling. Although it's digital, the sound is just incredible. So the sweeps, from what I can recall when I first heard this, were quite smooth. So this is different. For those of you who are used to the Allen and Heath setup will be familiar with how this works. And so it's a little different, you know, for guys like me predominantly being on Pioneer mixers, but I mean, I'm sure it's an intuitive transition from what I've heard. Next layer down is the beat assign effect, and that comes from over here. So with the DJM-900 series, the beat assign, you know, you have to turn a knob to select what channel would be affected by these particular effects. There's a range of them. I think Shimmer is a new addition to this. And now what they've done here is allowed you to select the channel like by actually pushing the button as opposed to the knob. I believe you're not able to select two channels at once when it comes to the beat assign effect, but nonetheless the effects from what I hear are spectacular, so looking forward to using that. And this is the other new layer here, which is the send, for the send effects here. And I love what Pioneer's done here because they basically broke down what are the most commonly used effects, including we have what is a short delay, long delay over here. I think this is dub echo, and then reverb. And you know, I'm more of a short and long delay kind of guy. I typically go to those, but what's exciting to me is you can blend these effects along with the filter and the beat assign effects too. So you can get even more creative, and let's not forget, you can control the feedback here of the typical send effects along with the timing, how it affects the master mix levels and the tone of the effect. I think you'll see a lot of guys playing around here. I know that's probably where I'll be most of the time, along with some of the touchscreen stuff on the beat assign effects. So pretty exciting stuff. And here's another specific layer that I love and I touched on earlier with respects to the headphone cues between A and B. So headphone A and B. It's perfect for back-to-back situations, and here's why. So you'll notice we have the typical cue for A, and then this smaller one is specifically for B. So if you remember, if you've ever done a back-to-back set, when this option wasn't available, you'd either be passing headphones back and forth, or if you're plugged in, let's say into the 1/8 jack here, you'd be trying to listen in on stuff, but inevitably you'd have to sort of look to whoever you're playing with and say, listen, I want to cue this record, and then hit the cue. Now with this is you're able to say, all right, I'm on B. I have full control of what I'm going to hear in each specific channel as I select them. So I think that's a powerful addition. And you can imagine, like, you can have like back-to-backs with not only one or two guys going back and forth, but you can have two on A and another two on B as well. So 4 people going back to back here and stuff. I think from a creative perspective, it delivers a lot of great options that way. Here are the typical linear faders. These feel quite nice, like the feedback on them. Wow, it's very different from what I'm used to. You just have to try it out yourself. But the response is really nice. You can feel it has some sort of feedback. It's slick, you know, some typical faders here. They also have the crossfader, which I think is cool, you know, because they have the phono options here on 1, 3, and 6. I think it offers up, you know, for those who are coming in from a battle DJ perspective, just to have this available. And I mean, the odd time I do cut up acapellas and stuff while I'm mixing, so I think having this option is cool with, you know, the standard assignments of A through or B on each channel. Let's go over here. So you see the cue here for the booth and stuff, and what I love about what they've set up here with the booth is you can actually control the high and low end of the booth. So you know, everybody has a different sort of listening perspective in terms of how you hear things and how you like to hear things, I think that's a fantastic position, because sometimes, depending on the situation, you might have a booth speaker that's set up with very heavy on the low end or on the high end, and you can just tweak that accordingly to your ear. So that's a really nice addition. Let's jump up here, and I was really happy to see this. These are isolators on the overall main out, and you can choose whether or not to engage this. So, you know, I think this is fantastic, because I used to have an RMX 1000, and I used to love playing with the 3 bigger knobs because it would touch the overall mix. And just to have this option here, in addition to the EQs you have here, in addition to the sends you have here, which, by the way, as I said, you can have internal and an external option, 2 external options, by the way. But I think having all of this is really nice in terms of enhancing creativity. I was speaking to Nathan Barato earlier, and him and Carlo Leo had a chance to use this, because Carlo Leo also has the mixer, and they did it in a stream recently last Saturday, I believe. And Nathan's comment was, it's really great. It's almost like it has too many options, but it's a good thing, because we're all a little bit creative in a different kind of way when it comes to mixing. So I'm looking forward to just diving right into this thing and learning as much as I can. It's a very, very impressive design. You know, there's a lot of standard things here. So you have the USB MIDI inputs here, which are common. The microphone piece, as I said, is about the same. Why don't we turn it around and have a look at the back? So here is the back of this beast, and I'm just gonna try and keep this as brief and succinct as much as possible. So, typical inputs here, you have the mic XLR input here, grounding for turntables as well, balance, and then you have the link assignment here and the MIDI out. One of the feedbacks on the link piece is that it's not labeled, it's just one. And given where things are going in the future, it would have been nice, you know, if Pioneer had labeled, you know, this is link 1 versus link 2 and so forth. That's one of the earlier feedback reports I've heard from others. But standard stuff. You have your phono, because this is channel 1, and it's the same thing on 3 and 6. Your phono inputs along with line right across the board. And then of course you have your digital assignments here. Master out, and then booth assignments here, left and right. Another master here, XLR male. And then you have your record out, which is very standard. You know, so by hooking this up, the levels wouldn't necessarily be affected by the master level here. It's just a straight output of whatever you're doing in the meat of the mix. And then you have your send and returns here, external 1 and 2. These are the send pieces that I spoke about earlier that you can set up in assignments. Over here it's reverse now, but it's on the send assignment piece. All right, and last but not least, we have the multi-IO return and send, and another grounding knob here, presumably for the middle turntable or last turntable input on channel 6. And of course, standard power, and noticeably they got the locking cable glue that I showed you earlier. Another thing I want to show you, because I was just talking about it, but I don't, other than the sections on the mixer, I don't think it was immediately obvious. So here's where you have the inputs for headphone B, and to control your cueing there. It's beautiful. Again, you got a 1/8 and a 1/4 inch input as well. And if I haven't said it already, I will say it now. This thing is large. Like, I believe it's 17 across inches, if I'm not mistaken. But it's beautifully designed, and you know, it makes sense it would be a little bit larger because it's 6 channels. I think this is a great response to Allen and Heath mixers from a filter perspective. If you're used to using that mixer, it's a very niche mixer from, you know, different conversations I've had. You probably won't see this in every club, but I won't be surprised over time that you'll start to see more and more of it as more guys like myself are used to using this. And again, when you have nice things like the compressor option there to test out new tracks or play older records to match the loudness levels of the records today, it's just very incredible. So a very cursory high level review from this unboxing. I'm super happy and excited to get right into this. Thanks for joining me. Much love and respect. And don't forget to hit subscribe and the notifications bell. Peace.